Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America podcast. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today we have Dallas from PPN, everything RV news in the house. So please, everybody, if you have a question for Dallas, feel free to start raising your hands and we will open up your mic and you can ask your question to Dallas. Or if you can't speak, there's a picture of Dallas on the wall that you can write your question underneath there in the comment area. Also, to everybody, a lot of people confused, upset, everything about what happened last night. Everybody take a breath. That was a huge win, whether you want to think it is or not for MAGA, but it was, because what is Donald Trump? And we always say it, Derek Johnson says it all the time. He is a president of laws and orders, executive orders. And what do you got to do? You got to let them commit the crime so they can do the time. This is 2020 all over again. This is 2024. He caught them in the act. He came out and he said, I know that we lost a little bit of sovereignty in New York, but we'll get it back. Don't worry about it. We're going to look into basically all the fraud, everybody. So take a breath. It's all good. This is just more exposure of the corruption because this is so entrenched, everybody, and deep and twisted. Like I said, it's from the lowest to the low to the highest of the highs, from your school superintendents to your doctors, your lawyers, or nurses, to your politicians. EOs. It's everywhere. We have been infiltrated our entire lives. Our lives are one big lie. Have been, right? So just take a breath, everybody. Yesterday was, I know many people, and this is another thing, you're going to start seeing the fake patriots, the fake influencers, the fake podcasters show their true colors. Because guess what? They're going to start spinning this narrative and how, it was Trump's fault and MAGA supporters' fault, this, that, and the other. No, everybody, just they're going to spin the bullshit narrative. So please be careful. This is what I say. I've been telling you. A lot of people have been telling you it's going to get even more crazy. So be careful. Watch for those bullshit narratives that they're about to spin. And if you're seeing that, stop following these people, everybody. Stop following these people that are putting out BS, propaganda, lies. Because again, we are in the exposure stage. And last night, I know many people were disappointed. I understand it. I get it. But at the end of the day, you have to have them do the crime so they can do the time. So also too, I do believe it's coming full circle, everybody. Remember, 2020 is not over yet, right? And what's being brought to the surface a lot more now is the 2020 election. Again, we still have the Brunson case out there, everybody. I do believe that this is all going to pop wide open. Once that 2020 election information comes out, guess what? Everything is null and void. Fraud vitiates everything. And everything that happened last night, everything that's happened over the Biden administration, you understand why Trump says he was 46, just doesn't want the credit, because it was a lie. It was fraudulent. So this that happened last night will be gone. It will be fraudulent. So just take a deep breath, everybody. It's all good. Things are happening, and it's so brilliant what is playing out. This plan, God's plan, could not be more beautiful than what we are seeing. So sit back, enjoy that ride of what a time to be alive, everybody. We truly are witnessing God's work. So have some solace, everybody. It's all good. It's all good. But doesn't mean we're not going to still see confusion and craziness, because we will. But again, take a deep breath. And again, the SNAP benefits, right? Trump came out the other day. What was I trying to tell you guys the other day? Watch Trump come out and use these, possibly use these tariffs to help this people on SNAP benefits. And he's been coming out and saying that could potentially happen, or it's going to happen, or whatever the verbiage he used. But again, everybody, these tariffs are big. They're a great thing. So those people that are saying, oh, it's just going to add more to the, everyday taxpayers' taxes. Guys, listen, you gotta stop following some of these people that are putting out that bullshit. So that's what they want us to be. They want us divided, and they want us in fear. So just hang tight, everybody. Things are happening the way they're supposed to. So again, be careful who you listen to, who you follow, what you're putting in your mind, because again, we're going to see more of this, and you just really need to protect your mind, everybody. Also, too, if you get a random message from me, somebody claiming that it's me, because I'm seeing more fake accounts of that people are using my face or my logo, know that it is not me. I will not randomly reach out to you and ask you if you're ready for a scare event, finances, crypto, anything like that. So please block and report them. That is not me. And make sure you let me know so I can also make sure they're not here in my channel. Because everybody, I've been blocking and banning a lot of people because I know there's a lot of bots, there's a lot of scammers. You know, I probably in the course of I don't know how long, but almost 7,000 people I blocked and banned from my channel. Whether you're a bot, scammer or not, if that's not you, let me know. But you know how I run my channel. I'm not a revolving door. So if you like what you hear and you're here, continue to stick with it and stay. Because if you're coming in to because you want to hear, especially one of my guests, and then you leave the channel, you're more than likely going to get banned or removed from the channel because you look like a bot to me. And I take it more serious on a daily basis because of the more that's being exposed. And I'm not only protecting my channel and myself, but I'm protecting my guests and you, the members, from these scammers that are coming in and taking people for their livelihoods. And the stories are extremely sad. They're heartbreaking because unfortunately, people have been scammed for their livelihoods. So please, everybody, be careful. Also, too, we are being listened to in over 100 countries, everybody. We're making some great positive news. So if you come in late to the podcast here or you want to send the replay to a friend or a family member, please follow the podcast hosts, and they are iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, PocketCast, Riverside, Amazon Music. Social medias are Jenny Dreed Facebook, at Jenny_Dreed X, at JDreed Rumble, at JDreed True Social, at JDreed Instagram, The Revival of America right here on Telegram. And I am out of timeout finally on YouTube. So the shows are going back up over on YouTube, and that is the Revival of America as well. And then check out the website, sign up for the newsletter. It's free. You'll get the latest updates on the podcast, and you can watch them over there on the website if you'd like, and the weekly show lineup. So that's the revivalofamerica.com. And last but certainly not least, everybody, if you have a submission that you want to tell your story, your journey, please submit your stories to TROA submissions at yahoo.com. And we will vet them because we do get some shysters that want to give fake stories just to get on a podcast. And if we believe it's legit, we'll reach out to you via email, get you scheduled, and you can share your voice, your story on the show. Because remember, everybody, it's your voices that matter and your stories that are going to help shape this new world that we're coming into. So with that, everybody, Dallas is here with us today, and I do believe this is his final Wednesday here with us, not his final show, but we're going to coordinate in the background. We were talking a little bit before the show about when we can get him on, if it's going to be like a monthly thing, every 2-week thing, according to his work schedule, obviously. So I'll let him talk to you a little bit more about that, and we'll figure it out. But he's not leaving us. He's just going to try to figure that out and which day works best for him. So with that, hello, Dallas. How are you? I apologize. I'm a little late.
No, you're good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, my mic was getting all weird. It wouldn't. It kept turning like mute myself. But no, I'm here. This will be the last one for a little bit at least. I've got to figure out what's happening schedule wise, and I'm kind of going into new territory. So it's going to be long days. I've got to go to the office every day. It's driving. Probably if I'm really lucky, it'll be 35-45 minutes. More likely it'll probably be an hour, especially in the afternoons and stuff. So it might be one of those things where, we do it while I drive home or something, but I've got to get in. I've got to figure out what's going on. And I just can't take time away from my kids because now I'm going back to the rat race in a sense. So I've got to make sure I maximize my time with my kids too. So,
Well, Dallas, too, we can do it. Like you said, maybe on your drive home, it doesn't have to necessarily be the 90 minutes. We could get you on, maybe a little bit more frequently and do like a 45-minute show when you're driving. So we can definitely figure something out.
Yeah. So I just got to get in. I've got to figure out what it looks like and figure out how it's going to work. But I'm here today. I agree with everything you said. I was a little harsh earlier today on PPN. but to me, this is where the rubber meets the road. You know, I have never doubted. I've never turned on Trump. You know, Kash Patel, a different story in my mind right now, but Trump, I believe, and I want to believe. You know, like I'm testing my faith, but it's 11 months. There hasn't been a single political arrest. What happened in New York is like dumbfounding. I'm just obviously there was manipulation, whether it was digital, whether it was machines, whether it was mail-in ballots. But like right now, the largest demographic that voted for him are women under the age of 45. Like that, if that is true, those are the stupidest people I've ever met in my whole life, because he is a devout Muslim. He is about Sharia law. He is about socialized government. And in the Muslim, you know, in the Sharia world, women have zero rights. You don't even get to speak, let alone have any kind of autonomy or personal value. And for that demographic, if those numbers are true, which I keep pointing them out because that's the one that doesn't seem to make any sense to me. But if those numbers are true, the biggest demographic were women under the age of 45. Either they are just plain stupid, which I don't believe, or there was mass fraud, you know. And but this is where the rubber meets the road, right? They have now cheated, and I'm not bashing, I'm just giving facts. They have now cheated in the 2016 election, the 2018 election, the 2020 election, the 2022 election, the 2024 election, and now the 2025 election. You know, this interim. They're going to cheat in the 2026 election. So there's been plenty of time for them to break the rules and to be caught. This is where the rubber needs to meet the road, and Trump and his cabinet and his administration need to step up and start making some sweeping changes. But
guess what, real quickly too, think about this too. So about the people that vote, the women under 45, you know, this is what they've learned, right? So we're in the Obama era, right, of people and Biden. So the people that are cheating in these elections, they're all the Obama fans, right? They're either installed by them or the squad. So all of these people that have been put in here by, you know, with the Obama world, right? They're all a part of that nefariousness. So guess what? They've all been caught cheating. So they've all done the crime. So now they're all going to do the time. You got to break down the old guard, bring up the new guard. So I do believe this was strategic moves and counter moves. We are at war. And this is you don't give your enemy your next move. So Trump does not speak like he's a man that he is worried. Trump is New York. I mean, he owns a lot of buildings in New York. Do you think he's going to allow this to happen? And also, to know everybody, when that governor election comes around, and from what I understand, that Elise Stefanik, you know, she's I think geared to win over Hochul. He's illegal. And you've even heard Trump say he needs to be deported. He's in here in the United States illegally. She can deport him without like due process because he's in here. He's not legal, so they can get him out of here right away. So I do believe there's a lot of other things at hand here that are going along with it. But it's exposure, everybody. All the Obama freaks. That world, they're being exposed and they're getting caught into the crime. And now guess what? They're all going to do the time. And don't think for a hot second, I do believe, honestly, Dallas, a lot of these people, we're just sitting and watch it unfold. You know, it's scene by scene by scene. I do believe a lot of these people have already been apprehended in the background. They are making deals to help bring down this corruption because, you know, we know Trump can't do it all by himself, right? In the military. So it's like, you know, you help us, you leave a legacy. You don't help us, you don't leave a legacy. And the whole world gets to know everything about you. And we take care of you right now. So just like the whole Cheney situation, that piece of shit was vile. He never loved our country, you know, and people like Fox News, oh, he loved our country so much. I'm like, get the fuck, excuse my language, but get the fuck out of here. He was vile. 9/11, ISIS, all this stuff. So you know what? And then all of a sudden, Cheney dies. Well, wait a minute. he was sick. Why didn't we hear about he was having challenges, So everybody
Yeah.
kind of read between the lines and use a little common sense. I mean, that just popped up on us, right? Cheney, I didn't know he was sick, but if Trump has a bruise on his hand, you hear about it, or if Biden falls, you hear about it. So, this things, everybody kind of put two and two together. This is all strategic, everybody. I do believe it's all by design.
I'm in. Let's I'm ready for the war. I mean, I don't think it's a physical war necessarily. I hope not, but I'm ready. Let's do this.
Oh, it's mental for sure. So, what's going on in the RV world? Do you have any news? Anything changed since the last time we spoke?
I mean, yes, supposedly, right? I mean,
Ah,
again, this is the kicker, right? Is that it's all happening so far above our heads that we can't necessarily see it yet. But Mark Z has been pretty vocal and pretty on par, with what I'm hearing. I do believe now, and again, this is the third time I've said this on this show in a row, but I believe that money has moved in the top, in the highest levels, in the governments and the militaries. Money is trickling down. Iraq is so ready to go. Vietnam is right on the cusp. There's more and more talk. I don't know, because I think it just came out last week, but last week there was an article in the Iraqi Gazette about India. And India stated in the article that in April of 2026, just a few months from now, they're going to start using silver as collateral for loans at a ratio of 1 to 10, or 10 to 1. So 10 ounces of silver will be equivalent to 1 ounce of gold. Well, at the current prices, that is not even remotely close, right? So if gold stays the same, if gold stays at 4,000, that means silver has got to go to $400 an ounce by April in order for it to be 10 to 1. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So that was an article that was published last week. India is ready to go. They're making announcements. Russia is making announcements. China is making announcements. North Korea and South Korea are making announcements. And the United Arab Emirates, they've been in the news. All Trump's travels last week, right? Every country I just mentioned, Trump met with, last week. So there was rumors that Trump made a stop in Iraq. To my knowledge, and I have a fairly strong intel source now in Iraq. Trump did not stop in Iraq, but he has had a new delegation over there for almost a week. So, I believe things are moving. It's interesting that we're going through what we're going through right now. I believe it's all tied together. And that's what gives me hope and I've referenced that. Like, I hear such positive things on the RV side and on the money side. And then you have all these geopolitical things that seem not to line up and they don't seem to match. But I just have to believe they're all tied together. And I think this is it's going to be a whirlwind when it happens. I don't put a lot of stock in Bruce, but he had some real positive things to say that kind of line up with other things that I'm hearing last night. So I think I believe we're in a good place on the money side of this. But I also believe that it's all tied hand in hand, right? There's got to be disclosure. There's got to be a cleaning of corruption. That's what they're doing in Iraq right now. Last week, they arrested a bunch of high-ranking officials that were smuggling in U.S. dollars into the country. The U.S. dollar is no longer the world reserve currency. It is not accepted in any country, especially the OPEC countries and the European Union countries. They're not doing transactions in fiat U.S. dollars. So something has to change. Something has to be announced by Trump where we go asset-backed. And it's building up. The repo market in the banking world, they are selling U.S. Treasuries for momentary liquidity at record paces, like in the hundreds of billions, if not trillions, over the last 3 or 4 or 5 days. That is setting up for a banking crash. That is setting up for a stock market crash. That is setting up for the crash of the fiat dollar. So I think I think we're right there. All the pieces seem to be lined up. Now it's just a matter of, when does that big domino get toppled, right? I think little dominoes are absolutely moving, but at some point they've got to kind of, all the little ones got to press up against that big domino. And then when that big domino starts falling, then we're going to start seeing some real movement and some excitement. But I am in a good place, mentally, on the RV side. I think good things are happening.
Amen. And you know what? There's a lot more good happening, everybody out there, than there is bad. It's sometimes easier to take the negative and hang on to that. But I'm telling you what, there's more good than there is bad happening. But there's just so much focus on the negative. So have some solace in that, everybody. All right, we're going to start taking some questions, everybody. Dallas typically gives us 90 minutes. Are you good for the 90 minutes today? I know we're about 15 minutes late. Or are you just good for an hour and 15? I know you have your kiddos.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm waiting to pick up my youngest daughter. When I get to the house, I'll probably have to get out for a minute and get back in. But my oldest daughter gets home right around 4:30, so we should be good for an hour, for 90 minutes.
Okay, cool. All right, everybody. So go ahead and start raising your hands. I will unmute your mic if you have a question for Dallas. But in the meantime, I've got some questions here for you on the wall. Here's one from Stacy Caputo. Question: could I open a joint account with my mom at a bank to transfer a large sum of money for her to avoid the whole gift tax issue? Meaning my name would be on the account, but I wouldn't touch the money. It would just be for her to use. Does that make sense? Trying to figure out the best way to give family a large amount of money post RV if the laws haven't changed.
Yeah, I mean that would be a way around it, right? If you're joint owners of the account and you just happen to put $50,000 in there and your mom uses it, that's a way to get around it. You just have to be careful. Transferring the money is not necessarily the issue. It's if she starts taking out lump sums and in denominations specifically over 10,000, they're going to start asking questions, because anything over 10,000, the bank has to flag and has to report. So I would just be cautious of how much is taken out. But you should be able to transfer in a large sum and just say you're moving money from one account to another. But I think that's a good idea.
Thank you, Dallas. Okay, here's another one from Corey Stilson. Are you still doing financial investment firm after the RV? And do you know a good trust guide to work with? We will need to trust. Will we need a trust there? Will we need a trust if there are no lawyers under the Republic? I apologize. Go ahead.
Yes, that's still the plan to provide direction and assistance after the fact. I do have some solid sources on specifically constitutional trusts. I do not believe that you will need a trust going into the RV, but you probably, at least until everything gets changed over, you probably will want a trust after the fact just to protect the money. But yeah, I'll have resources for that on the backside of this.
Thank you, Dallas. All right, 80s chick. When RV happens and we go to distribution centers, when we exchange our change, foreign or domestic, will we get an account, or will WD get the new, or would we get the new currency?
Hold on one second. I'm sorry.
Did you hear them? Oh no, you're good. You need me to reread? Let me know if you need to reread it. And everybody, while we wait for Dallas, if you guys have a question for him, please feel free to request, and I will open your mics. He is here. And if you don't ask today, we don't know when he'll be back on. He will be back on, but just don't know when. So don't be afraid, everybody. Let me know when you're ready, Dallas. Or if you guys can't ask the question to Dallas, please write underneath his picture on the wall. And for those of you that are saying about sound, if you're having challenges with the sound, whether it be me or Dallas or the whole channel, you may have to go out and come back in. Also, too, if it's me you can't hear, or Dallas, you may have to touch on our avatars and hit the little speaker and crank up that volume. But if it's not that, then you may have to go out and come back in. Are you there, Dallas?
Yeah, sorry. My
No,
my daughter likes
you're
to
good.
pop random questions to me on these days.
Do you want me to
Will you
reread
read
that
the
question for
again?
you?
I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah.
Yes,
It
please.
says, let's see, 80s chick, when RV happens and we go to the distribution center, when we exchange our change, foreign or domestic currency, will we get an account or would we get the new currency?
My assumption is, based on what I've gathered, they have to announce the asset-backed currency before it will be allowed to go. That's one of the things one of the primary things that Iraq is waiting on is for the United States to formally announce that they are asset-backed, from what I'm being told. So I believe we'll get the new currency. Are we going to get specific QFS accounts like we've been told in the past? That's the part I don't think is necessarily going to play out the way we've been told. Because the QFS, from my new information, is not necessarily an account. It is literally blockchain technology that will help track nefarious activities with the money. But all of our money should be on the QFS, not necessarily in the QFS, but the QFS is the new kind of monetary system. So will we get a private account or a separate account? I don't think so, but all of our accounts will switch over to the QFS blockchain technology, and that will help track, nefarious things and things like that. But my understanding is that there has to be an announcement of going asset backed. So we should get asset backed money, not fiat money.
Thank you, Dallas. All right. You've requested a mic. Go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, press the blue button in the middle of your screen. All right, Agent 99, I'm going to unmute your mic. Go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Agent 99.
Good afternoon, both of you. Thank you so much again. We'll miss you, Dallas. Quick question. I hope it's quick. When we have funds placed into a QFS account, as far as we know we're going to be doing humanitarian projects, but if we want to do just charitable things for so many people in need, is there a way to do that anonymously? Being that everything is traceable now, and you can't, in fact, that was really the purpose of doing this, so people can't hide money or be very nefarious about it. Will there be a way to give to people without them knowing that it's you?
Yeah, that's where. Great question. That's really where the trusts come into play, because what you shouldn't do is name your trust your legal name, right? Your trust should be some random name that's not really traceable back to you or whatever. So you should be able to do things anonymously.
Okay.
Again, the QFS is really about tracking nefarious transactions. If you're giving money to a charity, that's not nefarious. Hopefully the charity's doing the right things with it, but that will also help flush out those charities like the Clinton Foundation and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that have been taking in money and doing nothing but nefarious things with it, right? Chelsea Clinton used $87 million from the Clinton Foundation for her wedding. That's not what people gave money to the Clinton Foundation for. They gave money to the Clinton Foundation to help the right? So that's where the QFS will come in, but that's where trust will play a role, at least in the beginning, so that we can do things anonymously and stop, the newspaper from broadcasting your name in it. So-and-so gave, Dallas gave, $10 million to charity AYZ, right? I don't know why I just said AYZ, but you know what I mean. But yeah, that's where the trust will come in, especially if you make the trust an autonomous name.
Thank you, Dallas. Thank you, Agent. Agent 99, did that answer your question? I had to mute your mic because you left it open and we are getting back end noise. Did that answer your question? If not, raise your hand. Go ahead, Agent 99. Go ahead, Agent 99. Your mic is unmuted. Okay. Oh, go ahead. I unmuted your mic.
So sorry. Sorry. I always give you a hard time here. The other quick question was, are we going to have regular credit cards? Because one of the things I would like to do, if possible, is buy a bunch of $100, $500, whatever credit cards, and people who are clearly in need, just slip them that and let them go get things that they need for themselves, food, whatever, pay bills. Is that a possibility, or is that not?
Yeah, I don't know
logical?
how credit cards will necessarily work, because if compounding interest is illegal, then that should be done away with. But preloaded cards, absolutely. That's actually one of the ideas that my wife had, was to preload debit credit cards and give those out to people that we want to bless. And if a waiter or waitress is really, really excellent, giving them a preloaded card with $500 on it, or $1,000 or something like that. So I don't exactly know how the credit card system is going to work, but we should be able to preload cards, because there's no interest on those, right? Once you use the funds, the card's dead. It's kind of like a gift card. But I think that's a great idea. That's what we plan to do.
Thank you, Dallas. All right. Oh, I have unmuted your mic. Go ahead. Try it again. Push the blue button in the middle of your screen. 00, whatever this is, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Okay, last time I'm calling on you. Okay, so here's another question for you, Dallas, here on the wall. It says, are you hearing 30 cents on the Boulevard Exchange?
Yeah, I'm hearing anything from 29 to 39. And that's current. I mean, that's kind of on the Forex right now. If that's the case, awesome, right? I've heard it will be a little bit more, but 40 cents for a lot of like I've said in the past, a lot of those habaneros were, 40 or 50 cents at one time. I looked just yesterday, and you can buy habaneros for $1.99, right? So you spend $2 and you get a million habanero and you get 40 cents. That's $40,000. That's a pretty good rate of return, right? So I am hearing that, because that's actually on the exchange rates right now. You just can't do it because Venezuela is still a sanctioned country, right? But 29 to 39 has been on the boards for a long time. I personally think it'll be a little bit more, but we just got to wait and see.
Thank you, Dallas. All right, Laura, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, Dallas. I have a quick question. I think the person is on this chat, so I think it will help them. Okay, so the question is, I've always heard that the banks are mirrored, so we shouldn't have to worry about what's out there now. Even if it looks like they're closed down, they would be assumed by another bank. Maybe I'm wrong, but this person actually wanted to move a large amount of money to Uphold, which Uphold, I do believe, has 11 banks, in order to collect interest from their USD offering that they have on there. Now, do you think that Uphold would be any different than a local bank, even though it's online and I don't know that it's backed by crypto? But anyway, I just wanted to get that question out there. So if that person is still on here, they get a little more information before they make up their mind. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know all the details of Uphold, but like Wise is another one, right? Which is technically a multi-currency cross-border, platform. The reality of what I'm being told is that everything is going to be tokenized anyway. When it's all said and done, we're still going to have physical money for a while, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea, because some of them are offering, 4% interest, which is significantly higher than the 0.002% we're getting in our banks. So I don't think that would necessarily be bad. I would just do as much due diligence into Uphold as possible before I moved, a lot or all of my money into that system. But I believe we're going to a fully tokenized digital system eventually, and banks are in essence going to be null and void, right? We're not going to use banks for what we've used them for so long, which is really, they're debt machines. They give us loans to buy houses, they give us loans to buy cars, and then charge us absorbent interest, and they make tons of money off of that. If we go digital, we go tokenized, then basically we will be the bank, and we'll be able to move money instantaneously, cross border, internationally, in the super fast, with no charges, no pending periods where they keep your money and make 15 or 20% interest on it, for the 10 days they hold it. So I believe that whole old banking system is going to go away, and we're going to go to a new tokenized digital system, and there'll be several. I just don't know exactly what all ones are going to stay, but there are going to be several tokenized digital bank structures. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I do know that there are some credit unions that offer that 4% too for certain accounts that you can get if you ask questions. You have to ask the questions, and you need to know the rules. Do I have to have something that's deposited in every month or every couple of weeks, and how much does it have to be in the account? And do I need to use my debit card 5 times a month? The reason I say that, because that's one of my credit unions pays, I think, a little over 4%, but all of those apply to me. So I do think there are some out there that, that could be good, but I didn't know. To me, for Uphold, I guess I like Uphold. I have stuff on Uphold, but I'm still not convinced it's much different than a credit union that's local. I don't know. Maybe it gives me more comfort that it's close by. I can run down and get some money. But I think I don't use ATMs, so, but if other people do, hey, good for them. I just wanted to see what your take was on it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hey, Judy, I'm at the house. Let me back out and get back in. I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. All right, and everybody, for those of you that are asking me in the background, no, Dallas is not leaving the show. He's not. He is just starting his new gig next week. He's got to get in there, figure out his scheduling, with work, and then he's got a family, and I believe his kids are in sports. So he made a great point right now. Great idea. If he's got a 45-minute to an hour long drive, maybe instead of us doing the 90-minute shows, we can do it on his drive home, and maybe have him a little bit on here instead of every other week. Maybe we can just do an hour show with him, weekly, depending on, of course, his schedule, because as I have a day gig, and that takes precedence over my podcast. So as now he's going to as well. So he is not leaving the show. We are just reconfiguring when we're going to get him on, how often we're going to get him on, and if it's going to be on his way home from work, or later in the evenings when his kids are maybe in bed, maybe on the weekend. I don't know. So we'll figure it out, everybody. Don't worry about that. We will figure it out. We'll let you know, but all good in the hood. And then I know you were requesting again, or 0, whatever that was. If you have a question for Dallas, please write it in the comments, because clearly I've now opened your mic twice. You have not responded, and I typically call on you guys 3 times. If you don't respond, then I have to go on to the next person, because my guests give us an allotted amount of time, and I want to be respectful of their time and get in as much of the people's questions as possible. So yes, 0 or 0, whatever that was, please put your question underneath Dallas's picture on the wall, and I will read it to Dallas. And Dallas is not here yet, so we will wait for him to come back. And I do believe, I think it was Laura, you were just talking about, simultaneously. I do believe these two different systems, whatever it is, our current fiat system, banking system that we have, and the new one, I believe that they are running simultaneously, side by side, because we can't flip that switch and not be ready to go into something new, right? So I do believe common sense tells me, and what I've been told, that's kind of, what we're looking at. So hopefully Dallas can come back in here and we'll get some of these questions answered for you guys. So go ahead, start raising your hands. I will unmute your mics.
Hello. Quick question. My
Well,
brother.
hang on a second with blessings. We're waiting for Dallas to come back in. He's not here yet. He had to switch from his car to in his house. So we're waiting for him to come back. And I have one person ahead of you, so hang tight.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. But in the meantime, if any of you have questions for me, please raise your hand. I will unmute your mic until Dallas gets back. And we don't have that dead, awkward silence. So I hate that
Okay.
silence.
Jen, I just have a quick question. Does anybody know if Social Security is going to happen on the 3rd of this month? My brother's really worried.
I mean, I don't, oh, Dallas just popped in here. I don't have the answer to that. I've not heard about Social Security being affected. However, I do know with these tariffs, if in fact it is like, we have the military and everything affected, and then we have the SNAP benefits. The tariffs could come in and there's a lot of tariff money that the tariffs could come in and potentially help with a lot of that. But Dallas, can you answer with blessings a question she wanted to know about Social Security payments if they would be coming in this month?
I sure hope so. I mean, we've been told for the last 6 months that this was the month. This was the month. I am optimistic that things are moving. So hopefully this is the month. But I can't say that for a fact because that's not something that I have any kind of like real solid connections in. But if everything else is moving, then hopefully that will be the case as well, right? Plus, what a good way to get money into the hands of the most needy, right? So I am optimistic, but I don't know that to be a fact.
Did that answer your question with blessings?
That's pretty much what I was thinking. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Miss Shalita, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Thanks for your patience. Go ahead, Shalita. I call on you guys 3 times and I got to move on to the next. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was hitting the button. I'm so sorry. Okay, one of the questions that I wanted to ask is when with the different credit cards, I came in on the last part of the Uphold. Is that particular app better than the Chime when it comes to banking? I came in on the last part of it and I just heard the Uphold conversation, and I just wanted to know, is that something that was offered or something we need to get into or?
No, I don't think it's necessarily better or worse. I was just
Okay.
expressing that what I'm being told is that everything is going to tokenization. So most of our money transfers and transactions will not go through the old Swift banking system. They're going to go through the new digital system.
Correct.
And that's just an option. But Chime is one, Wise is one. I mean, there's about, I don't know, 15 or 20 of them right now that exist. And I think that that's probably where we'll all end up eventually.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Shalita. Thank you, Dallas. All right, let's see. Here's a couple questions here on the wall. And everybody, please feel free to raise your hand. I will call on you. This one says from Sophia, I heard Bruce say last night the dong rate is well above $10. What are your thoughts on this?
That's why
Your laugh cracks me up.
I take what Bruce says with a grain of salt every time, because what I've been told is that everything Bruce says, about 20% of it is accurate or true or correct. The other 80% is kind of fluff, right? Could the dong be $10? Absolutely, but that would mean that the dinar needs to be, 20 plus, right? Because I've always been told that the dong is going to be about half of the dinar. I would love that to be the fact, but I think the dinar is probably going to be closer to 4 to 8, and if that, if it's 8, then that means the dong is going to be 4. If it's 4, that means the dong is going to be 2. I would love to get $10 for my dong, because that means my dinar is going to be worth 20 plus, right? But we just have to wait and see. I tend to do all my planning and my actual like processing on the lowest numbers. And then, then for giggles, I'll play with the big numbers, but I tend to base my life off of minimums so that I can be pleasantly surprised.
Thank you, Dallas. All right, here's one from Walter. Will mortgage-backed bonds be worthless if NASARA forgives all current mortgages or if the housing market crashes? A quarter of our 401k is invested in mortgage-backed bonds, so this concerns me, but we don't have control of that investment.
Well, that's a great question. I don't know the answer. I know that in 2008, that's what crashed the market. It, it wasn't real estate per se. It was the illegally rated AAA mortgage bonds that crashed the market in 2008. The fact that they're still so prevalent in our current investment system gives me cause for concern. But if they go belly up, just like in 2008, if they go belly up, then the market is going to correct itself. I mean, that's kind of the beauty of it. It took 5 years after 2008, but in the 5th year, if you just left your money alone, then you saw 135% gain after you made all your money back, right? So if it does crash because of forgiveness, well, one, your 401k is going to be probably the least of your concerns from a positive standpoint, right? Because the average 401k in the United States is about $20,000, between $15,000 and $20,000. Hopefully yours has way more in it. But if there is a big correction within the market, we probably just need to leave that money alone so that the 401k companies like Fidelity and Guardian, the other companies that are heavy 401k management companies, they reallocate their portfolios and then the money regrows, right? Plus we have all the suppressed patents and all the suppressed technologies that are going to come out. Those are going to be all new companies, and those companies are going to explode. And so it's going to correct itself pretty quickly, but we may, we're probably going to see a hit in our 401ks for a little bit. You do have more control than you think in your 401k. They just make it really, really difficult. You have to contact the management company of your company's 401k. Like I said, Fidelity manages roughly 80% of American 401ks. So you're probably going to have to contact Fidelity, and you can shift things around. I've told this many times, but 5 years ago, I took all my money out of the market and I put it in interest-bearing bonds, not real estate bonds, but just general bonds, and I was guaranteed 5% growth. Now, if the market was up 8, well, then I lost, a little bit, but I still got 5, right? And I did that because I was expecting the market to crash. If the market crashes, well, I still get 5, right? So you just have to contact your 401k management company and discuss options. And if you don't get if you don't get answers you like, then just work your way up the food chain, right? Ask to speak to the manager. If the manager can't answer, then ask to speak to the manager's manager. But eventually you get to somebody that actually knows what they're talking about and what the options really are. And you can look for things like that, dividends. Crypto is making its way into 401k, so you could convert stuff into, hopefully XRP, XLM eventually. But, ultimately we just have to kind of wait and see how this all fleshes out.
Thank you, Dallas. All right, everybody, he's here for you. You guys raise your hands. I will unmute your mics. There's not any questions, but we'll wait for some hands or somebody to write a question. But I have a question for you, Dallas.
Sure.
Many people, talk about the RSULD. Is that right? The real note, the U.S. note, right?
Yeah.
The new one that's coming out. I understand it, but I want people to hear it from you as well. Can you maybe talk to the audience a little bit about that and how that's going to play out for us in the future?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's going to be the tokenized version of our new currency, right? And, my understanding is that it's going to be managed through Ripple. Ripple is also XRP, right? but I believe it's going to be the tokenized version of our currency, our asset-backed currency. So it will be physically backed by something, and then we'll probably just use it interchangeably with our other tokenized assets. One of the things that I am hearing, and Trump has even said this, that their plan is to tokenize our debt. Where we have to be careful is if they tokenize our debt, they're going to try to turn around and sell the debt back to us, the citizens, and it very possibly could be through the RSULD, right? So we got to pay attention to what it's connected to, because what we don't want to do is buy our $37 trillion of debt and bail out our government and then leave us holding the bag, right? So we just got to be patient. We got to wait and see how this all fleshes out, and hopefully it's a full debt forgiveness, and everything just starts from zero. But we just got to be mindful and pay attention.
Thank you, Dallas. Also, too, can you talk to us? Because, many people have cash on hand, and the current fiat dollar that we have, we're going to have that opportunity to go in and exchange that for whatever the new currency will be, correct? The coins and all that kind of stuff, the dollars.
Correct.
Okay.
Trump
Do you know what
talking,
that's gonna look like?
I,
The process of it.
yeah, I'm being told that we're going to have probably 6 months to possibly a year to convert the old money, and then once that process, or once that time frame is over, then you just got really cool wallpaper, right? But it's going to take at least 6 months, from my understanding, to roll out all of the NESARA programs. And again, I don't necessarily think it's going to be called NESARA, but we're going to hear about all of these programs, the tariff dividends, the Doge rebates, USAID rebates, things like that. That money is going to come back to us. That's how they're going to appropriate what these executive orders are signed as they've seized money. The thing that, like I said, you hear one thing positive and you hear two or three things negative. I'm sure I'm not the only one that read that Zelensky bought a huge farm in,
Yep.
well, I want to say Nebraska, but I don't think that's right. But he paid $78 million for this land. It's like 400,000 acres. One, that's our money. Like, I hope everybody understands that. That's not his money. That's our money that we sent to Ukraine, that he just bought 400,000 acres of farmland in the United States. In my mind, there's no way that's a real transaction, right? I don't know if that's just for fodder. I don't know why they make that announcement, but how is that money going to be, returned to we the people? I think it's going to be through these programs. It's going to take 6 months to a year to roll out those programs. The strawman accounts, the fact that they've been making, trillions of dollars off our Social Security numbers, trading them on the black market as bonds, the fraudulent interest that we've been charged. How do we get that money back? I think it's going to come back through these programs, and it's going to take 6 months to a year to roll out all those programs. Because again, I haven't always been a proponent of this, but if you just flood the market with a bunch of money, then you're just going to have chaos, right? And so I think that it's going to be a slow, systematic kind of drip of money. They're going to make sure that people are okay. Trump has said for years, almost 10 now, that we're going to have a great Christmas, right? Well, shoot, we're in November. December is just a few weeks away. So I'm hoping that this is the time where that statement comes true.
Thank you, Dallas. All right. Rebel with the cause, Miss Cassandra, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Thanks. Hey, Dallas. We've seen a lot of commentary around, in order for the RV to happen, that there has to be world peace, and that we have another back door, I believe, on the 22nd. I know ISO 22 is coming out, but I just remember hearing we have another back door. And then we've got John Solomon saying that we're just not equipped. We're not equipped to keep up with all the volume of all the evidence that's coming through with the FBI, which to me says military tribunals. Like, what really is the hang up right now. And I joined halfway through, but where are we at and what is the kickoff here?
My understanding is the kickoff, or what we're waiting on, is Trump to announce that we're asset backed, that we're going back to the gold standard. Because I've been told for weeks now that that's what Iraq is waiting on. They're waiting on the United States to actually have a declaration of good faith and make it public, because right now, I hear every week, oh, we're already asset backed. We're already on the gold standard. Well, nobody can prove it, right? I mean, you and I can't go into the bank and say, okay, I want to exchange this dollar for, the equivalent amount of gold, and I want gold in hand, right? When we have the new currency, we should be able to do that, right? So I believe we're waiting on Trump to announce the asset-backed currency, and then once that happens, then it's wheels off. But the peace, all the peace deals that have been signed, I mean, they basically leveled Gaza this weekend. So is there really peace? It doesn't seem like it, but on paper there is. But I think at some point there's got to be a worldwide reckoning. And, I don't know if that is limited martial law around the world. I don't exactly know how they're going to roll that out, but I'm hoping the EBS has something to do with it.
Does that answer your question, Cassandra?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Miss Cal, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Cal. Your mic is unmuted.
Oh,
Go ahead, Cal.
I'm trying to, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to ask you, you did touch on a little bit on the money thing, but if ever, I'm not talking about people who invested money themselves, but if everybody's going to get paid back a lot of money on Social Securities or whatever, and the country is going to be, like you say, flooded with money, who's going to want to work?
Well, I mean, that's why I said, I wasn't always the proponent of the slow drip, but I'm becoming more, kind of in line with that I don't think people are going to get hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. I think they're going to get 5,000 one month and maybe 10,000 the next month. And, maybe another 10,000 the month after that. Like, it's going to be money that we're not expecting that hopefully will help people get out of the hole that they're in. But the reality is that hopefully when this thing breaks, people are going to do what they really love to do. And I use the example all the time. I despise cleaning. I hate it. I do it because unfortunately I don't have a maid to come do it for me, and my wife refuses to be my maid. So, I clean when I have to, but I don't like cleaning. But there are people out there that love cleaning. My sister-in-law, when she's mad, she cleans. When she's sad, she cleans. When she's happy, she cleans. When she's depressed, she cleans. When she's just normal, she cleans. She loves cleaning. Well, okay, I don't like cleaning, so I'm going to find somebody that loves cleaning, and I'm going to pay them an incredible wage to do the thing I don't like to do, right? There are waiters and waitresses and bartenders that are in their 50s and 60s and, at the local diner, and you're like, why are you still a waiter or waitress? Because I love it. I love interacting with people. Well, they're still going to do that if that's what they love to do. They're just going to get a fair wage, and they're not going to be living paycheck to paycheck and begging, and praying and hoping that somebody gives them, a $200 tip so they can pay their rent, right? Those costs are going to be covered, and we're going to get to do the things that we love to do. Everybody is different, right? And so right now, most people work because they don't have any other options. What if you had the option, right, to pick what you want to do? Is there going to be a little bit of a delay? Probably. But again, if all of a sudden waiters and waitresses get paid $75 an hour plus tips, and we're all tipping, 200% of the bill, well, then there's probably going to be a lot of waiters and waitresses, at least in the beginning, until things slow down. The United States, we have so many restaurants. Texas leads the world in restaurants per capita. We have restaurants about every 7 feet. I think that will probably change, right? We're going to hopefully go back to kind of more old school, you know, kind of make your own, you know, cook at home, and you have real food without chemicals and pesticides all over them and things like that. But restaurants, I think, you're going to see an explosion of, and this is literally just my thought, right? So take it with a grain of salt. With a grain of salt, I think you're going to see an explosion of artisan style restaurants, right? Restaurants. When you go to Italy or you go to Europe, you can eat pasta every single day and not gain weight and not have the issues that people have eating pasta in the United States. Because in Italy, they make the pasta fresh every day. They make the bread fresh every day. They don't use the preservatives and the chemicals that we use in our food to make the loaf of bread that's sitting on my counter stay fresh for 3 months, right? I think we're going to see an explosion of artisan style restaurants, and, you know, farmers markets, I think, are going to explode because we're going to be able to put money into organic farming, real organic farming, and, you know, things like that. So is everybody going to quit? I suppose that's a possibility, but at the same time, you know, people like to work for the most part, right? Most of us don't like our job because it's not what we want to do. It's what we have to do. Like Monday, I'm really good at what I do in the financial world because I understand it. I can explain it in layman's terms, and people understand what I'm telling them. I don't like it, but it pays the bills, and that's what I need right now. So I'm going back to work. When I get this blessing, I'm not going to be in the financial world forever. I'm going to honor my promises to people, but my passion is ministry. My passion is going around the world and entertaining people, but more importantly, sharing the good news of Jesus Christ. And those that work with me are going to make a very good living. Right now, we all volunteer. Every single person, the 50 or 60 people that are actively involved in my ministry, for the most part, don't get paid to do any of it. And in most cases, they pay monthly to help us keep afloat because that's the only way our ministry can survive. How cool will it be when, not necessarily me, but, you know, my organization can come and say, hey, you guys, I'm going to pay you a fair wage, and this is all we're going to do. Now we need to really buckle down, and how are we going to reach the most people and have the biggest impact? And you can take that to any industry, right? Your humanitarian project. People love animals. Well, okay, you can work in an animal shelter, have the coolest animal shelter on the planet, and actively find people to rescue the animals, you know, and things like that, because we're going to have the resources to do it. I don't know if that actually answers your question, but that's kind of the best take I have on it right now.
No, you did. I just want to tell you that your wife's got a good husband, that you do clean at home. A lot of husbands never did that. Thank you.
Well, like I said, I hate it, but nobody else is going to do it. Luckily, my youngest daughter loves cleaning toilets. It's the weirdest thing. But for Christmas, we're getting her this fancy like toilet wand that she asked for. I'm like, hey, you go, girl. You clean all of them.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Dallas. Thank you, Cal. All right, Alfie Lynn, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Yeah, along the same lines of that, are people going to keep working? I always thought that if monies are being made available to us and, you know, debt is forgiven, I would think that they would require people to keep their jobs, because people still need to, you know, if we have money, we'll go buy a car, we'll go out to dinner, you know, we'll travel, we'll buy a piano. That's what I'm going to do, get a stand-up or upright piano. So that's my 2 cents on that. I don't know if anyone has any other thoughts regarding that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Right. We're going to have the means to do and spend money the way we want to, but at the same time, people are going to be handsomely rewarded for whatever their new job is, right? Or maybe it's not new, it's just their old job, but now they're actually getting paid to do what they love. I do think that employment is going to be a huge part of these programs as they roll out. Why do you think that they added the minimum of 20 hours of community service or 20 hours of work to SNAP and EBT before they went away? And people have lost their mind, right? I watched a video of a guy who's like, I don't work for no man. You know, it's your job to work and pay your taxes so I can live free and do what I want. Well, bull crap. That's never how it's supposed to work, right? The Bible is very specific. You know, we are supposed to be benevolent to those that work, right? That are willing to put energy into taking care of themselves and their families and their children. If you don't work, I don't think you get any of these benefits. You know, if you get a big old paycheck and then you sit at home for the next 6 months, well, I don't think you're getting another check. And eventually that money's going to run out and you're going to have to go get a job. So I think as they roll out these benefits to the mass public, you know, because again, those of us that know about currency and the RV and the GCR, we are an infinitesimally tiny fraction of the global economy, right? So the average Joe Schmo has no idea about Dong or Bolivar or Zim or anything like that. And they're going to start getting these benefits, but those benefits, I believe, are going to be tied to employment. As long as you're working. Now, are we all going to have to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week just to make ends meet? No, but if everybody worked 20 hours a week or 30 hours a week doing something they loved, well, then we're still going to have employment. We're still going to have services. It just is going to be, you know, I'm sure there will be a slight transition period, but eventually people are just going to do what they love to do. Some people love pottery, right? I say I'm much more autistic than I am artistic because I can't draw, I can't paint, I can't sing because my voice is ruined, but I am creative in very different ways, right? And if I can make a living doing what I love to do and being creative in my own way, well, then one, I'm not really working, right? Because I'm just doing something I love to do. I love wrestling. I know it sounds silly, but that is my artistic form. You know, I get to go and tell stories in a very physical, very personal way. And I make people feel all kinds of different emotions, happiness, sadness, anger, shock. And while entertaining them, we share the good news of Jesus Christ. It is super unique. And most people can't even fathom it until they see it. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Other people are, you know, my wife is creative in the arts and crafts way and organizing and leading groups. And so my wife will not work for me because she's made that very clear, but she will find a job or we will find something that she is passionate about and we'll turn it into a business, right? The thing about humanitarian projects is giving away money is not humanitarian. That's charity, right? So whatever your humanitarian project is, it needs to be something that can be self-sustaining, right? There needs to be revenue generated somehow, some way, right? Just giving money away, that's not humanitarian, that's charity. And eventually you're going to run out of money. I don't care how much you get in the RV. If you just walk around giving money away, at some point you're going to run out, right? So part of that is just a mental shift when we think about humanitarian projects. You don't have to make millions and millions and millions of dollars, but you should be able to at least sustain your project, whatever it is, right? If it's a animal shelter or if it's you know, organic farming or whatever, right? I mean, you're gonna farm, but you're gonna sell your produce, and you're gonna sell your produce so that you can plant more produce the next year, and maybe you can expand and, you know, add a different crop or buy better equipment or buy better filtration systems for the water that we're using and things like that. And so hopefully that kind of feeds into what you're saying.
Yes, it did. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dallas. Thank you, Alfie. All right, let's see. We've got a couple questions here for you on the wall. And everybody, if you have a question for Dallas, please feel free to raise your hand. We've got, how you doing on time, Dallas?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So here's one from Janine. Question: How soon after RV will your company, Dallas, be ready to consult with us? I really appreciate all you and Jenny are doing.
I am purely spitballing, but I'm guessing a month to two to get people, you know, because some people, I had a whole group, right? I had a whole team planned. I didn't tell anybody, you know, I didn't tell them because I learned that lesson the hard way, you know, in the beginning. Man, I got this money coming. It's going to be awesome. well, then they just sit and wait, you know. So I've got to get people brought over. I've got to get them licensed. I've got to get them approved. We got to do background checks and things like that. But I would guess, you know, a month, you know, month to 8 weeks, you know, 6 to 8 weeks. Um, and I'm working on something else also that might be quicker, right? If I partner with an organization that's already up and running and functioning and are ready staff wise, well, then we can go quicker. But I would guess a month or so.
Thank you, Dallas. All right. This is kind of a statement question, and I'll put my 2 cents in, then you can too. What your thoughts are? Go north to Dakota. My best friend thinks Mamdani is the Antichrist. I think his win in New York City and other social liberals that won the election yesterday are part of the movie that will lead to exposure of election fraud. What do you guys think? Yes. Well, I don't believe that he's the Antichrist. I don't believe that is the time for that. That's not this time. I believe that's in the future. But yes, I do believe what happened yesterday is more exposure of the fraud. Like I said in the beginning of the show, you got to let them commit the crime so they can do the time. They've done it. When Trump says we've caught them all, we have it all, that means something. Okay. So what are your thoughts, Dallas?
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think he is the Antichrist because he doesn't fit he doesn't fit all the criteria as far as, you know, his personality and his being. But I think it's absolutely about exposing fraud in the elections and things like that. I think the Antichrist is probably alive by this point. I don't know how old he is or they are, but I also think that AI could absolutely be part of the Antichrist, in my own personal opinion. But I think we're right on the cusp of this exposure, right? I said it today on the show. I mean, we're 11 months into President Trump's term, and there hasn't been one political arrest, not one. There have been indictments, but even those are garbage. Most of them have been pushed out 3 or 4 months. So there's a time coming where the rubber meets the road, and you know, the handcuffs and perp walk thing really, really, really happens. But I think we're close.
Yeah, I do too. And remember, everybody, a lot of their playbook is being spun around. The boomerang, it's coming around, is being weaponized against them, everybody. So we're seeing a lot of their playbook being used against them. So remember that and keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, here's another one from Janine. How soon? Oh, I already read that one. Chipper, hi Dallas. What will be your most favorite thing to invest in after the RV?
Silver. It's
No.
already set to skyrocket, you know, to $20,000 an ounce or something like that. But I mean, I'm looking for silver, possibly a little bit of gold, rare earth metals, copper. You know, back, you know, 100 years ago, all of our piping in our homes were copper because copper has natural antibacterial, antimicrobial, um, purifying mechanisms in it. Well, what did they do? They stripped all the copper out of our homes, and now it's all PCP pipe, which is plastic, right? Which is leaching plastics into our water, into our food. So I think copper is going to be a big one. Um, you know, for me, you know, I think real estate will be a part of it. If nothing else, just buying, you know, swaths of land that I can then, you know, kind of in the old days of the sharecroppers, buy land and say, hey, you work it, you get to keep, you know, 80% of the proceeds. I just, you know, give me 20, you know, things like that. But silver is my primary one right now, just to be honest.
Thank you, Dallas. Also, too, everybody, when you get a chance, look to the bottom of the wall. I did post something from BioCalistine. Might help you guys understand a little bit about what's going on and what's happened last night. Again, everybody, we are at war, and unfortunately, things happen in war that we don't like, and casualties being one of them. But check that out. It's very, very, very good, very interesting. Okay, here's another one from, where did it go? Chipper. Oh no, I just read that one. This one's from Charles. What is the purpose of trading social security numbers? It doesn't seem very tangible.
Well, one, we didn't trade them, right? It's the elites that have been trading them on the black market. They're just betting. It's a high stakes game of poker. They're betting on our success, right? They're betting on our incarceration, right? Why did all the prisons go private? Well, because they're all huge money makers. Why do most prisons sit at 80 to 95% occupancy all of the time? Because as long as prisoners are in there, somebody's making money off of them, and it ain't you and I. It's kind of the old George Carlile, joke. They're all part of the big club, and we're not invited, right? Um, can I detail the specifics of how it works? No, but I also know that Social Security numbers are batched by region, and then once you grow up and you get a driver's license, well, that changes things. When you apply for a marriage license, that ups your stock, right, in that particular mode. If you get arrested, that's another, positive or negative. If you get married and you both have high paying jobs, well, now the two of you are lumped together and they trade that kind of as a bond, right, as a collective. But it's nefarious stuff that's been going on in the background. Social Security cards didn't exist until 100 years ago. Birth certificates didn't exist until 100 years ago. Why did they create them? You just gotta do some digging and do some research into those things.
Thank you, Dallas. All right, let's see. Tennessee Trash, your mic. Oh, wait, excuse me. I apologize. Patriot Princess, you're first. Go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Patriot Princess.
Oh, and can anybody say when this thing will go through? There's so many of us, are hurting, and we're looking forward to this.
Yeah, I can tell you with some great certainty that nobody actually knows. It's unfortunately the powers that be are way at the top, and they all are insisting on getting paid first. But if what I believe is taking place right now and money is moving at the highest levels, it begins to trickle down. I've been pretty honest, especially the last month or two. How long does it take to go from the top to the bottom? I have no idea. Does it take 72 hours? Does it take 2 weeks? Does it take 2 months? That I don't know. And, Mark Z said yesterday or today, I can't remember, that nobody knows, right? I mean, the people that claim to know the date and the time and, Thursday morning at 10 a.m., we're going to get notifications. That's garbage. They don't know that. I guarantee they don't know. And whoever told them that just wanted to see if they were dumb enough to repeat it.
And how did tiers 1, tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4A, they have been paid already, and with us, it's like we're at a standstill.
Well, it's tiers 1 and possibly 2. It hasn't made it to tier 3 yet, but I am optimistic that it gets down there, next.
Oh, so we still have a long way to go, because I thought we were next in line.
Well, I mean, again, there's been a lot of misinformation or disinformation that's been put out there. Tier 4A and B doesn't even exist. Like, it's not a real thing in the banking world. In the banking world, there are only 3 tiers: 1, 2, and 3.
Wow.
Tier 4 is what we commonly refer to as the internet
group, yeah.
And we found out about it by accident. We were never supposed to be a part of this ever.
Right.
But it got leaked out. I believe the story I've heard is that it was leaked by the Chinese elders because all the powers that be were still trying to corrupt this and hoard all the money. And so it got leaked out. And the military helped leak it out, back in the 90s when we invaded Iraq the first time, when soldiers started being released and sent back to the States, their commanders told them, hey, grab as much local currency as you can and just hold on to it because it's be worth something someday, right? So that was over 20 years ago. So we just, trust me, I am right there with everyone. Like, I need this to go today. I wish it went yesterday. I really wish it went a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I was directly told, hey, get ready, contracts have been signed, money has moved, It should be released any moment, and boom, you're good to go, right? That was 3 years ago. But I had a conversation this weekend at church. A year ago, literally this time, we thought, man, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
Trump won. He's going to get in office. It's going to be awesome. He's going to flip the switch.
Right.
But what has happened in the last year? What's happened in Iraq? What's happened in Vietnam? What's happened in Zimbabwe, right? Zimbabwe is fully asset backed.
Right.
That wasn't necessarily the case. They had just launched their gold coin a year ago. So we're way farther down the road than we think we are, or that we ever knew we were in the past. And I hate to be the guy that says we just have to be patient, but that's literally what I have to tell myself every single day. And every day I hope it's today. But I do believe we're close. I just don't, because I know what I know, I'm not willing to say in 2 weeks, boom, everybody's going to get paid, right? I don't think that we're going to get notifications this week. I think it could be soon, hopefully, possibly this month, but I don't think it's going to be this week because my knowledge, the money hasn't moved far enough down the chain. But I do believe we're close. And again, what if they do release the Social Security benefits? What if they do release Doge checks? What if they do release tariff dividends? Well, that's going to give us all a little bit of breathing room to allow this to roll out in its due time. And I hope that gives you a little bit of hope and a little bit of confidence. But I believe we're close. I think all the power, 2 weeks ago, to my knowledge, it was supposed to go. And then there's a paymaster that screwed something up. Well, he didn't screw it up. He tried to defraud the system. They caught it immediately, but that halted the whole thing. And it halted it for over a week. They found him, they arrested him, they removed him. But they had to reset the system. And then last week, there was a deal on the code side of things. That's why this week is pretty optimistic from the people that know. And that's where I'm standing. I'm hoping that, hopefully in the next couple of days, we get some confirmation that money really did move in that tier 1, that tier 2 group. And then we gotta bide our time until it gets down to us. But
Thank you, Dallas. And everybody, just remember, and I know you may not want to hear it, but again, I always tell you guys, my audience, patience. You gotta have patience. Some don't like that, but at the end of the day, patience is a virtue, right? And then we're closer than we were yesterday, the day before, 2 years ago, than we were ever to this happening. So remember, it will happen God's time. Nobody ever has a true date. All right, Tennessee Trash, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. How you doing on time, Dallas?
I'm good.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm glad to hear you one more time, Dallas. I really appreciate you and Jenny. I think it is funny that everybody tells us a high-ranking official has told them information, and every time they do, it turns out to be a lie. So I believe that everybody that thinks they know what is going to happen never does. But I have to be the faith that eventually this is going to happen. I myself, or like you, Dallas, my wife had cancer. I'm on Social Security, and I really would like for it to come true. But my life won't be based on it, but it sure would help. And I would like to be able to do a lot to help other people. I appreciate you guys. I know there's not but 2 people that I listen to, and that's you and Jenny and Mark Z. And those are the stable ones, and the rest of them seem to be a little out there.
And real quickly, Tennessee Trash. Dallas is not leaving the show. He's going to continue on with the show. We're just trying to maneuver different days, times, whether we get him on here more often and he can drive home in his drive and be on the show with us instead of doing a 90-minute show. Maybe we could have him on every week at 45 minutes. So he's not leaving the show. We just got to see what his time permits. And then that doesn't obviously interfere with his family and his new position. So he's not leaving the show, everybody. He's still going to be here. We're just trying to
Yes, I
maneuver everything.
understand that, and thank you. I think that the best thing that we all can do is pray. And last time you were on, Dallas, you prayed for me, and I appreciate it. I just hope that we continue to do God's will. And if it's 30 cents on the dollar, I'll be tickled.
Me too, brother. And I continue to pray for you and your family. I have a video. It's a YouTube video. I'm going to share with Jenny. She can put it on the page. It's from an Oriental preacher. I don't exactly know his origin, but I believe it's called God's Blessing. It's 37 minutes long, but I would highly recommend everybody take some time when you have it and watch it, because it is all about remaining quiet in this next phase
Be still.
of life, right? And we've talked. I'm shocked we haven't had a question about NDAs today, but I've said from the beginning that if there is an NDA, it's not to punish us, it's to protect us from ourselves, right? It's to protect us from going out and making some big announcement at our local watering hole, or going out and buying a really fancy car and putting it in front of our single wide trailer, or our $100,000 house, but we got a $500,000 Lamborghini parked in the street because we can't make it up the driveway because it's too steep. And this video, it has really, really impacted my life. I got sent it last week, and I should have sent it to you as soon as I got it, Jenny, and I just wasn't thinking about it, but I'll send it to you. But
Send it to me and I'll put it on the wall.
It's an incredible video, and it really puts this into perspective, right? That God's timing is perfect. Our timing is flawed. And, it's really hard to knock down a tree that is fully formed and deeply rooted. It's real easy to trample over a seedling that just began to sprout, right? The whole parable of the mustard seed, right? When Jesus kind of rebukes the apostles, and says, you have little faith. If you just simply have the faith of a mustard seed, you could tell that mountain to move from there to there and it would do it. The reason that he uses the mustard seed is because a mustard seed in itself is incredibly small. But if you've ever seen a mustard tree, they are ginormous, right? And it's not about the seed, it's about what the seed produces. And a mustard tree has incredibly deep, wide, broad root systems. So it is firmly rooted in the ground. And when it grows and when it reaches maturity, you're going to have a big old chainsaw or a big old bulldozer to knock that thing down. And I think, and that's what this video is really about. It's about being patient. It's about being humble when this blessing does come, and not drawing attention to ourselves before our time is ready, right? Before our and what's crazy is that I don't believe he made this video based on the RV. I think this is just a man who got a divine inspired word from God about God's blessing, and about when bounty comes, and when not prosperity, but abundance, right? When that comes into our lives, how do we respond? And one of the quotes in it is, lots of people are very comfortable in poverty. Very few are comfortable in prosperity or abundance, because we're not ready. We're not mentally ready. We're not kind of wired that way yet. And so as this blessing comes, it is going to be imperative that we stay quiet and stay humble and meek in the beginning until we get our humanitarian projects fully up and running and working, because sometimes opposition comes from those that are closest, because they don't understand your vision. They don't understand the hours and hours and hours of prayer and fasting and meditation that we have all spent waiting for this moment and begging God for this moment, they have no idea because they weren't a part of it, right? And so sometimes our biggest opposition might come from those closest to us, especially when all of a sudden we got all this money and they're like, well, wait, why do you have all the money? I want the money. And that's been part of my message this whole time. I've watched families literally destroy themselves over $10,000 of life insurance benefit from a grandmother or a grandfather, right? I mean, literally whole families over $10,000. $10,000 is a lot of money, but it's not enough to destroy an entire, multi-generational family over. But I've watched it happen. And, so what happens when we get more than 10,000, right? So it's a really good video. I'm going to send it to Jenny as soon as we're done and she can put it on the wall. And I would highly recommend you watch it and send it to those that that are in this movement, have currency, because I think it is deeply profound.
Thank you, Dallas. Yeah, do that, and I will get that on the wall for you. Okay, I've got 2 more questions for you, Dallas. Go ahead, Trump
Sure.
Train.
Hi, Jenny and Dallas.
Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Dallas, I'm going to welcome you back to the corporate world as I have, I guess, been exited from the corporate world due to my surgery on my right knee. Yep. Yeah. They have suspended me and pending investigation. Yep, that's crap. So, but brother, just know I pray for you every day. And can you give the crowd an update on all the rates that you know?
Well, I don't know any of them, but I project based on knowledge and history and digging that the dinar is probably going to go somewhere between 4 and 8, possibly more, but I'm counting on 4 to 8. The dong is going to go 2 to 4. If we get things squared away in Venezuela and Venezuela gets to go, I believe the Bolivar is going to go hopefully somewhere around 3, right? Maybe a little bit. The Zim is the wild card because I hear all kinds of crazy things about the Zim, but and I don't have a good number on the rupiah. You could probably have a better number than that than I do, but I just think we should prepare for the minimums and then be ecstatic when we get more. Is kind of the take I'm taking on it now.
Thank you, Dallas, and thank you, Jenny. I love you guys.
We love you too, Trump Train. Take care of yourself, my friend. God bless you. All right. Grandmother of 5, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Appreciate y'all so much. Dallas, I've heard before that if you have a deceased spouse or whatever, that you would collect their funds and stuff, from birth certificates, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think that's so?
I believe it is because that's how it works with 401ks and retirement accounts. Is it going to go multi-generational? Like you're going to get money from your mom's mom? I don't know if it's going to go that far, but I believe that it will at least go one generation back. So a spouse or a parent that's unfortunately passed. I believe that to be 100% accurate.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. I lost my first husband 48 years ago. I lost my second husband 15 years ago. So do you think they'll cover both or just one?
I mean, my gut would tell me both, but if not, they might pick the one that has the most, to offer or to give, and that you would get the higher of the two. But my gut tells me you'd get both, especially if you were legally and actively married when they passed, and it was
Yep.
So
Had I 8.5-month-old child and my first child, he totally scared to death when it happened, but he was killed in an automobile accident. So, just one of those things. But hey, I'm not looking for another husband.
Yeah, you and me both.
Well, two's been enough. Okay, that's pretty much all I was wanting to ask tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Hope you get to be on more regular. I'd love to have you on every week, like Jenny's been talking about. But I worry about you driving and talking too. So I just want you to be careful and safe.
Oh yeah,
But thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Grandmother Five. Okay, Dallas, I just saw a DM here with a question.
sure.
It's from Crystal Loves God, and Crystal, don't apologize. You're not bothering me. You're good. You're good. And send me your username, and I'll figure out why you're not able to get into the channel. But here's her question: the word that okay here the here's word okay. Okay, well, she's hearing that Zim will not be on the first batch. Just wondering if you have heard anything on that. So I'll let you answer that one. Then she has another question for you. Have you heard anything about that on the Zim?
Yeah, I've never heard that the Zim isn't in the first group. I could tell you that at the highest levels, Zim bonds and the agro checks are at the top of some of the lists that they're talking about and some of the contracts that are being like in the works. So I mean I really hate to guarantee anything, but I could say with some pretty definitive knowledge that Zim and the agros are definitely in the talks for right now.
Okay, here's the second part to her question. Also, I bought my grandson, who is 25, some currency. I bought under his name and mailed directly to him. Will he be able to go into the redemption center when it happens? I did get him a small amount of Zim, 10 million. He is very responsible, does daily trade, so understands financial stuff. Plus, has a big heart. Oh, God bless you all for everything you do. That's cute. Thank you.
Yeah, if he's not directly tied into this world, he may not know about it. But when you find out, the 800 number or the website or whatever, you'll absolutely be able to tell him and then kind of walk him through what to expect.
Thank you, Dallas. And everybody here, again, I want to stress it to everyone. I can't stress this enough, is I guess is what I'm trying to say. Dallas is not leaving. He's not leaving. We're just restructuring when he's going to come on, because I know a lot of people have been worried about him leaving. I understand he's a value, gives a lot of great information, not just on the RV, but everything. So he's not leaving. Just going to let him get into his job, kind of see what his schedule is, and then we are going to reconfigure the times and how often we get him on here. So everybody come back at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're gonna have Rick Anson on from Brain IQ Health. He's got a lot of great information. Again, everybody, these are the healthy, all natural health supplements that we're coming into, that he is sharing new ways of healing, alternative solutions, just like John Baxter and the other people I'm trying to bring on to you guys that are all natural. This is the world we're coming into, everybody. So join us here on Telegram at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And Dallas, you and I are going to be chatting a lot in the background, and we're going to get you back on as soon as we can, right?
Yes, ma'am. I just texted you that video. It's a YouTube link.
Okay.
Please put it in all of your channels, because it is really, really good. Like I said, it's 37 minutes long, but it is very good.
I will share it far and wide. And you know what, everybody, who knows? If Dallas, by the time you get in 2 weeks from now, who knows? Maybe Dallas has a good idea what his schedule is going to be and when he can be on. Maybe we will have this figured out in the next 2 weeks. So we'll see. But Dallas isn't leaving you by no means, and I know he would never do that. So, but if he had to, he had to. We would understand. But he's not leaving. So Dallas, we'll work this out and cross our fingers. Maybe in the next couple of weeks you'll be back on.
Absolutely.
All right, sweetie. God bless you. Good luck next week. We love you, and we are going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you soon. So, and we'll get you back on here soon.
Sounds like a plan.
God bless, Dallas. Thank you. Love you. God bless you all. We'll see you here in an hour for Brain IQ Health. Thanks, guys. Oh, and then don't forget about Silk. Silk over on my X Space, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you've not been on one of those shows over on X with Silk, you got to come join. She's a hoot. She's a blast. If you want to get some good laughter, come join us. God bless you all. See you soon.